favor this game, I feel like they may have just straight up lost because I don't know if there's any coming back with the kind of lineup that they're going for here.
So, I mean, what's the momentum of each of these teams going to be? Like, who wants to get active? Who wants to go fight? Who wants to, start being mean and ganking versus, sitting back, farming, being calm?
I don't think the early game will be too insane. Oracle and Crystal Maiden aren't really the most amazing ganking supports on either side, so it pretty much just falls to the position 4 players and their rotations to determine what's going to end up happening in the early game and whether or not there's any aggression coming in. Odd do have good kill potential in all 3 of their lanes with a potential Nyx Assassin rotation, so I think that looks good for them, but then at the same time the Newbee cores are relatively difficult to kill, and it is going to be a jug mid, kind of notorious for how hard he is to gank on the mid lane, though he is going to get pressured pretty heavily by this Queen of Pain.
Yeah, I mean, do you think she's going to be out farming him and harassing him potentially just to a solo death?
I don't know if SCCC will die solo. Maybe he'll get caught out by an early Sonic Wave if he's not necessarily 100% keeping track of we getting ahead on the levels, because the Queen of Pain should be able to get some pretty decent denies in this lane. The one thing to look out for is whether or not Jug is going to be, like, how he's using his spin. The initial damage on Shadow Strike is actually pretty significant, so if you're able to dodge that and then immediately use the spin to shove the wave, I think that's one of the biggest things that a Jug player can do to help kind of control this matchup. And I don't think the Jug's going to get completely demolished. It also looks like, oh, Kaka is going for a position 4 Clockwork Courier snipe here. He's smoked in between the Tier 1 and Tier 2 tower. But we not having any of it, actually.
I just don't think it'll be in time, yeah.
Yeah, he's not even faring himself right now. I guess he knows that this is not actually a matchup where the Jug can harass him that much. So a little bit of a wasted time for Kaka as he's going to pop out of the smoke in just a second.
So the panel was talking about how, Newbee, they don't need to play this crazy. They can pick comfort heroes. They can play a comfortable style. I mean, how well does this draft kind of fit into that comfortable style? As, oh, hold that thought. Centaur potentially in some trouble. KP goes in with a deep stomp, only catches out the Oracle, and now he's still burning. Resolution spamming out one more spear will secure a first blood on that tanky Centaur.
Yeah, unfortunately for KP, absolutely no vision on that bottom side of the map, and well, they're looking for some kind of a turnaround here on the Moon.
They got the body blocks, but do they have enough damage? They need a couple more hits from the Terror Blade. The early Metamorphosis popped as Kaka's taking tower shots. The Trance now going to surround him and block him in. Kaka now the one in trouble, just going for a right click off, but Moon Meander gets the better of that exchange. Deep rotation in.
Yeah, nicely done with Moon, keeping those Treants right alongside him, splitting the battery assault damage, and has the boots to be able to get back to the tower. So pretty big investment from Newbee there, and it looks like they're not going to lose control of the lane. Kaka and Faith just too solid on this support role, and they are going to be able to drag it back towards the tower. And Moon might actually be in trouble again here. Doesn't have the Treant this time.
Oh yeah, he's certainly dead. One more right click goes the way of Kaka, so yeah, everything kind of evening out up there in that top lane.
Yeah, both offlaners just have such bad visibility over the supports on the enemy side, so it's difficult for them. They're trying to, I think, play up a little bit more just to force those support rotations onto them and kind of keep them away from the mid lane in some senses, but yeah, both offlaners losing their lives early on here.
I mean, who's more likely to get crippled by a really bad lane? The Centaur doesn't necessarily have the easiest time dipping out to neutrals.
They both have recovery mechanisms. I think it's important to remember that the Centaur has the Arcane Aura this game as well, so he can actually socks us in here with the Haster and just being a nuisance. But yeah, with the Arcane Aura, he can actually spam a few more hoof stomps while he's making his way through the jungle. So, and he farms the jungle pretty well to begin with. So I don't think it's a huge problem that the Centaur is getting forced out of his lane right now. And
Mid
same
lane.
story for the Prophet.
Oracle just goes in, the one-click healing ward snipe, very nice.
Yeah, a little bit of extra value there for Saksa as they are running some pulls down here, or at least Misery is looking to. Should be able to get it, and then they get the connection. And I kind of like what Newbee are doing. They lost one, they fed one kill to the Huskar early on, and now they're just ditching his lane. Feels very reminiscent of what people were doing when Monkey King was first introduced, and he was just this ridiculous laning hero that nobody could do anything about. One of the best ways to deal with that kind of a hero is just to, completely abandon the lane. Huskar's not going to take the tower that quickly. He's not really a hero that accelerates that much in terms of farm once he gets his first big item. So just not feeding him kills, I think, is a great way to play this, and then just deal with him later on with the lockdown that Newbee have and the big physical damage coming in from the Omni Slash and the Terrorblade right clicks.
Yep, Queen of Pain and Juggernaut matching up relatively evenly in the mid lane. Oh, there we go. Juggernaut in some trouble. Has his healing ward, but has to play safe as Misery's rotated himself forward.
Yeah, he's still got some sustain here, but as expected, he is kind of losing the lane matchup for the time being. Misery doesn't want to let him have these creeps underneath the tower, but...
Oh, they're TPing Moon in. They really want to go for this. The Impale holds back the Juggernaut. They're getting some right clicks on him, but Misery's too low to press forward. And now Moon can't get himself back in as Faith goes forward. Not quite enough to blast down Misery. They need a couple more right clicks onto Wii. They get both the Nyx and the Quap extremely low, but can't actually find the blood.
Yeah, I mean, that goes to show the strength of this Juggernaut as a mid lane hero. He's just so hard to gank. Buys a poor man's shield, relatively high base armor to begin with, so the auto attacks, which are pretty much the only thing that the Prophet contributes to that gank, doing pretty much nothing, even with the phase boots. Though Moon has found an invis rune for himself here.
Yep, giving eyes, and looks like the Queen of Pain thought about rotating in and trying to help, but instead just keeping some good vision on what's going on. So down in the bottom lane, we are going to have a free lane for Huskar, which is, you know, how lethal can Huskar be if he gets up a couple of minutes of free farm?
It's not, like I was saying just before, it's not a big deal. I don't think the first item doesn't accelerate his farm rate that much. It's way scarier to be feeding him kills at this stage of the game. So just ignoring him is fine. The TB is also finding free farm pretty much right now, so not a huge deal.
So as far as things are going, I mean, kills very slightly in favor of Odd, but that was more just some quirky positioning by some Newbee heroes. And we'll see if there's going to be a big rotation as Faith and Kaka moving down bottom, trying to punish Resolution for being pushed up so hard in the lane. But the Nature's Prophet wrapping in as well. This is going to be a pretty big scuffle down here in the bot. Saxa channeling up that Q is going to connect onto the Centaur, holding him in place. But now Battery Assault catches out the Huskar. They got the Frostbite to hold him in place as well. Resolution trapped in the cogs and will end up going down as they bring the Terrorblade in as well. So big kill now for Newbee. And they've got that Metamorphosis Terrorblade in the bot lane, so he's going to want to start pushing.
If you're playing it odd, this is not a rotation that you expect in a million years, but Newbee, knowing that the Huskar isn't actually that strong at this point of the game unless he's against a solo hero. The Berserker's Blood hasn't really kicked in. They don't have the life break for him to move around, and the Oracle's only level 3, so no opportunity for him to get the save. KP taking some damage up top. Nice Treant body blocks from Moon.
Oh yeah, top lane, it's getting heated. There is going to be a TP in from the Clockwork as, ooh, we got a little pause.
Alright, maybe, alright. Clock TPing, dangerous situation for Misery.
Yep, Misery pretty vulnerable here, but looks like everyone's going to get off pretty unscratched there. Centaur just going to walk his way back in, and Kaka takes over, getting some good experience on that clock, already level 4.5.
Yeah, Newbee are utilizing the map really well. This is a situation where I think you would see a lot of teams get potentially punished by rotating all of those heroes down towards the bottom lane to get that Huskar kill, but because Kaka opted to walk all the way down there, they still have heroes who are able to come and defend this top tier one, so they don't give away a bunch of free damage and they don't miss a ton of experience by making that rotation. And that would be a big part of why you don't see teams make plays like that. When you rotate 4 heroes into a lane early game, you're almost always exposing yourself somewhere else, but Newbee planning ahead for that really nicely.
I mean, Newbee's reads and Newbee's execution in the first 2 games in the series has just been phenomenal. How does this early game match up to those first 2 games we've seen?
I think it's pretty similar. It's even interesting to me, the Newbee draft here. There's a little bit less, I feel like there's even less flair than we've seen in some of their other games, picking sort of interesting heroes. This is just a super kind of safe, stable lineup. Nothing really too interesting to talk about, and this is something that people have noted about Newbee, that as they get further into the tournament, they break out less of the, you know, the weird picks. Ooh, Kaka in some trouble trying for the TP out.
Oh, Misery just not able to find it in time. The Impale, oh, at the last second, they break that Clockwork's TP, and now Kaka just running for his life. Sonic Wave committed, they need one more hit though. The Cogs holds him back. Kaka isn't gonna get out here. They bring the Treants forward. Queen of Pain blinks in and will be able to find that kill, but man, that Clockwork led him on a little bit of a wild goose chase.
Yeah, he found a nice little spot in the fog to try and TP out, but yeah, Misery managing to find him in the end. So, all right, they're going to swarm this tier 1. SCCC is pushing mid at the meantime, and Mugi's got an ultimate ready. Well, not an ultimate, but as good as the Metamorphosis ready to go down at bottom. So maybe they can find some kind of a trade here. The Glyph's being forced out as KP's trying to drag the creeps away, but the Treant's really strong. Oh, KP, he's just dead. Tried for the TP out.
Nothing he can do. The Centaur's having a really tough time. You talked about how he's, augmented by the arcane aura, but it seems like he's
it's
still
not
having a
helping
rough
enough.
go of it. He's matching up with the supports in terms of net worth. His levels are pretty far behind, only level 4 now at 8.5 minutes.
Yeah, I still don't know if it's that much of an issue since his team is just about to take 2 tier 1 towers, so all of that gold's going to flow into his pockets. But yeah, it is concerning that his farm is pretty behind right now, especially relative to Moon, who's going to be picking up his drum very soon.
Mid lane, there's going to be a little wrap around there. Wee has to make do without an ult. They do catch Faith, going to go try to TP out, but that Crystal Maiden just evaporated, and SCCC sitting back does have the Omni Slash available, but has to watch out as Misery is wadded up in some creeps right now.
Yeah, it's only a level 4 Nyx Assassin, so it doesn't really have very many ways to get out of this.
Yeah, that's 1, 2, 3 slaps, and just trying to make sure the Carapace won't get him down. The Carapace is burned, and well, Misery's life goes with it.
Nice little pickup for SCCC. The Terrorblade is still farming up a lot. And I feel like a lot of this game is really going to come down to how valuable these new items that have started trending are on the Huskar. Whether or not the Solar Crest and the Heaven's Halberd just makes him an unkillable killing machine, or whether or not the TB and the Jugs damage is still going to be enough for them to actually manage to bring him down.
Yeah,
because the Halberd is super value.
I just haven't seen enough Huskar in competitive play to know what's up.
Yeah, I think it's really difficult to gauge how strong he's going to be in this game. I mean, it is Oracle Huskar, so absolutely one of the strongest combos, and that's going to be a question mark for both teams here. If Newbee overcommit and then the Huskar gets ultied and just doesn't die, then they probably lose the fight that way. But it could also happen that maybe they do have enough physical damage. I think it's difficult to say which way it's going to go. It depends a lot on the farm, a lot on the initiation, and whether or not they could potentially kill off the Oracle before he does anything useful.
So big movement mid, 4 Radiant heroes making their way, and they just want to prioritize towers. I mean, how important is tower and map control to Planet Odd?
Very important. That's another kill on Misery from SCCC up top. But to finish the thought, they need the split pushing space for the Nature's Prophet.
Oh, Clockwork just hits a 6 immediately. They're going to punish Resolution. Queen of Pain drops the Sonic Wave. They are able to blast on the Centaur. That poor guy has just not stayed alive this game. The tower still gets low. It will be denied by the Crystal Maiden with a little pansy tier damage. She actually gets that up.
I thought Moogie was going to get it. It's a double damage Terrorblade, but it looks like he misclicked, and Faith's like, no, don't worry,
the
buddy.
Crystal Maiden with like a
you.
6 damage auto attack takes it out.
Yeah, there's no plus 60 damage talent just yet, Faith. Nice little play. They get that deny. They got a kill across the map. I feel like Newbee just have to chill for their initiators a little bit right now. The fact that the Centaur keeps dying is extremely concerning. They didn't have the Clockwork level 6 quite yet, so, I mean, Kaka trying to set something up nicely there with the Cogs pushback, but I don't even know if Centaur got a single spell off. And KP actually going for a pretty interesting build here. Just 3 points up in the return early on.
That's the don't touch me build.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess he feels like it's probably helping him jungle a little bit without getting too low, but I have not seen this a whole lot. I'm just trying to figure out what the plan is here. Maybe it's to do with the tree ants so that they can't really harass him so much and he can clear those out of the waves, but you would think that the double edge would also be pretty solid at that, but maybe he just doesn't want to buy the complete hood, so he feels like he can't really farm with the double edge. Maybe that's the plan.
Now Kaka with some aggressive positioning goes in, hook shots forward, tries the TP out. Not quite sure what the logic was of Clockwork being in there. He didn't have wards, so it wasn't like he was trying to go to place that down.
Yeah, just kind of, I don't know. Maybe thought that he could find that solo kill, but definitely not the case here. And Odd, well, this lineup's just going to keep on 3-manning down towards the bottom. The Huskar looking pretty strong. Going to make some nice progress towards his Heaven's Halberd as he picks that one up. They don't really have a whole lot of CS on their 3 heroes. If you look at the last hits denies, it's actually 2 Newbee heroes at the top. But the big problem for the Jug and the Terrorblade is that without the proper initiation, they're not really going to be able to do damage. So
yeah,
they really need to blink.
The Juggernaut is just spiraling up in terms of levels, already over level 11 on him, whereas the Queen of Pain, the highest on the Radiant, just level 9.
Yeah, Quap not having the most spectacular game here, but I think this is a lineup that works really well for Odd because it's all about Resolution. I think he's their most stable player. I think you can always look at Resolution, and if he's having a good game, then I think Odd are having a good game, and making him the center of the lineup in a lot of ways in terms of the draft, I think works out really nicely for the core players to kind of play around him, though like you're saying, the Queen of Pain maybe a little bit lower on money than you would like.
Clockwork trying to bring himself forward. The Cogs blast back. They need to keep Resolution alive, but they just can't do so.
Oh
The
my
Huskar's
God.
dead, and so is their damage. Now Odd have to retreat. Great initiation and defense by Newbee. They do end up losing their tower, but scoring the kill on that Huskar is so important.
Kaka's a monster. He's an absolute monster. He hooked in. He's only got the shortest duration hookshot stun of 1 second, and he still somehow manages to split up the Oracle and the Huskar with a level 1 Cogs. Like, Saksa just could not get around the Cogs to get off the ultimate onto the Huskar. That's 100% what they're relying on. That's what their lineup is built to do. And Kaka just completely denied them with his position for Clockwork. That was an insane play.
Yeah, Clockwork may get what's coming to him there as there's going to be a leap in, trying to go for the TP out, but oh my, he's burning, and he will end up falling in the base. I thought he was going to be able to get that fountain regen on him and keep him up, but now.
Maybe if he had the battery assault running, it would have interrupted a couple of auto attacks, and maybe he would have lived, but just went for the straight TP out. I think he accidentally ended up with the Huskar inside of his Cogs.
Huskar life broke him, and
okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Huskar was not letting him off with a warning that time. He was getting revenge.
All right, so Planet Odd just kind of chilling. They've got their Veil. They did still manage to grab that tower down bottom, so still making some progress. Moon sneaking that one in as he now shifts gears somewhat, picking up a Hand of Midas to start playing towards the late game a little bit
more.
more.
KP! Oh, that poor Centaur just can't stay alive. Now Omni Slash comes in onto Misery. The Carapace ain't going to do nothing about that, so just going to be a 1-for-1 trade, but I mean, the Centaur just feels so crippled.
Man, where are all these double damage runes coming from Newbee? This is some suspicious
deep life
stuff.
break comes in onto Kaka. Clockwork going to hookshot himself to neutrals and get himself out of danger, but now Huskar, he's big, he's mean, he's hitting fast. Faith gets evaporated by Wee, and they're trying to chase down SCCC. He will be able to make it up the stairs, but there's going to be some good damage going on to that tier 2 tower mid.
Yeah, and still waiting around for this Terrorblade ultimate. That is one of the big downsides of this last pick for the Newbee lineup is that, well, not the ultimate, but the Metamorphosis. I just keep thinking about it. I keep thinking about it as his ultimate, yeah, but they need the meta really, really badly to fight, so Odd really taking advantage of that, knowing that the meta was used in the last fight.
You sound like someone that's never been screwed over by a, last-second Sunder. Oh.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, big stampede forward.
Faith going to be going in, does get the freeze onto the Huskar. Huskar's freeze is going to get purged off, going to life break onto the CM, and now there's the Oracle ult, keeping the Huskar up and fighting. All they got to do is stack damage on him. Resolution trying to do as much as possible with the time he has left. He will be able to blast on the Clockwork, but he loses his life in the process, so it is a 2-for-2, but that Huskar falling. Again, going to continue to cripple Planet Odd as Newbee moving forward, trying to go exert some pressure onto the tier 2 mid of their own.
This is worrying. The Newbee cores are starting to live through the fights. KP especially surviving through that one, going to be getting some nice gold towards his Blink, which I feel like is a huge turning point for Newbee this game. SC going to get jumped here. Can they burst him?
Yeah, they're going to commit everything they've got to it. No expense spared. They commit the Queen of Pain ult, but definitely worthwhile as that Juggernaut is still doing really well for himself. Pretty far ahead of the Queen of Pain in terms of net worth. The Terrorblade, though, he's the big boy on the side of Newbee.
Yeah, the co-op desperately needed that kill. I think we just to become a little bit more relevant in this game. Like we were pointing out, he didn't. I think it's a pretty good laning matchup against the Jug, but SCCC still did fine, and the co-op kind of being forced to come along with the 5-man with the rest of the team did end up falling behind a little bit in terms of experience, but now we actually the highest level on his team after picking up that kill.
Yep. Roshan melting down pretty quickly. Planet Odd's got a solid Roche lineup, but Faith is going to scout this out, or at least crawl in. There we go, the Nova to scout things out.
There's a hook shot ready. Kaka, once again.
He's thinking about it, but he's got to time it perfectly, and it's just not going to be quick enough. Wee actually jumps forward. They want to punish Kaka for this. He does have that defensive hook shot now, but the Impale to hold him down, and the burst damage will be there. So great Roche turned into a kill on that pesky Clockwork. And now Newbee, they don't have the tools to initiate because Centaur is still years away from his Blink at this point.
I don't know about years. It's about 250 gold to go right now. So KP going to get it off another couple of waves. Finds a little bit more space to farm down bottom. And I think that's going to be where this game starts to get really interesting. The Nature's Prophet is stopping the Terrorblade from split pushing as heavily as he would like, but there's still something to be said about the value of having a split push hero against the Prophet. And instead of Prophet being able to spend all of his time pushing your lanes onto your side of the map, he also has to spend some time recovering the lanes from the position that the Terrorblade is pushing them out to. So I think that's another really nice aspect of the TB this game for Newbee, is that it binds up a little bit of the Nature's Prophet's time, and they know whenever they see him TP into a lane that maybe there's an opportunity for them to take a fight without him being being able to respond.
So smoke up from Planet Odd. They're just going to look for some quick kills here. Faith actually going to get healed up there by the Oracle, but eventually blasted down. And now, meanwhile, in the mid lane, SCCC potentially could get jumped by Misery. Vendetta up. Just needs a little bit of backup there, a little bit of reinforcement.
And Jug almost has this Shadow Blade picked up here. Oh, they look for Misery, but a wild miss on the hook shot from Kaka, and the Dust not going to connect either.
Yeah, Kaka now doesn't have that hook shot to try to get himself out of danger. Goes for the Cogs play, trying to buy himself some time, but Moon is there for the last hit. So just going to rake in some quick kills. Clockwork goes down 30 seconds till they have to worry about that initiation. And they're going to go ahead and pressure this top lane.
Yeah, should be able to get quite a bit done there. KP showing his Blink Dagger on the bottom side of the map right now, so it clearly indicates to me that Newbee have no intention whatsoever of trying to defend this tier 2 against the Aegis, Heaven's Halberd, Huskar. It's a huge item timing for him, and Odd might even just try and force this up onto the high ground. We'll see if Newbee have enough spam to defend it. I don't know if they really do.
So years have passed and the Blink Dagger has come out on the Centaur War Runners, so I mean, how's that going to change the initiation of Newbee? Now they've got 2 tools.
They want to get into this backline really badly, and yeah, the nice thing about having 2 forms of initiation now is that one of them can go on the Huskar, and the other one can potentially go on the Oracle. So it's been a difficult positioning tournament for Saksa, playing the Winter Wyvern a couple of times. He's certainly good at it, but he's got the exact same challenge this game in terms of playing the Oracle, trying to hide in fog and not getting jumped so that he's there to save resolution when he needs it, because it's Oracle Huskar as a combo. Huskar as a hero by himself, we don't really see it at all. So they really need to make sure that they can get that ultimate off and give him the opportunity to just keep auto-attacking for another 5 or 6 seconds and exploit the completely broken interaction between Inner Vitality and the Oracle ulti as well. You often see Huskar come out of this ulti on completely full health.
Yeah. So right now, I mean, Planet Odd doubling up the kill score of Newbee, getting active on the map, taking out all the tier 2s. Yep. I mean, as far as fighting for their tournament life, this is the best they've looked so far in game number 3.
Yeah, it is, and it's another one of these situations where Planet Odd have their backs up against the wall somewhat, and they just pull out some crazy heroes and seem to execute it pretty nicely. And I think this is one of the few things that can really exploit the fact that Newbee play so safe a lot of the time in terms of their draft in these grand finals. So they, maybe they'll take this game, but I think even if they take this one, they're going to have to keep it up to win the whole series. I don't know if they can go back to just picking stable, standard stuff.
Definitely can't get comfortable. Now, our Terrorblade, he's still pretty big, but surpassed now by the Nature's Prophet, who's taken over the top net worth slot. The Rat has really paid off. He's got himself the Maelstrom going for the full Mjolnir.
Yeah, it's got himself a Force Staff as well to help against the Clockwork, so that's going to be great for the Huskar as well as for himself. Also pretty good against the Centaur initiation, Force Staff people away, but speaking of Centaur initiations, KP's running forward right now, under cover of smoke, and it's looking like Newbee want to try and use this Blink Dagger for the first time. We'll see if it's successful or not.
It's all about catching Planet Odd out. I mean, how has Planet Odd's positioning been to play against initiations like that Blink hoof stomp and the hook shot?
I think it has been pretty good. We haven't actually seen that many actual team fights. Of course, the one where Kaka completely split the Oracle and the Huskar was sick. I didn't even think that Saksa was that far away, but just that little extra push was enough. Because if you look at the way that Saksa is playing, he actually is almost always going to be positioned such that the Huskar is on the very edge of his false promise radius, so knocking him away just another couple of 100 units makes it that much more difficult for Saksa to get into position. But Newbee looks like that smoke completely unsuccessful. What they were really smoking for is that Aegis being reclaimed, which it now has. KP looks like he's going to come get scouted out here. Both teams have vision in the same area, so they kind of know what's going on.
Down to the bottom lane. Just going to be a little bit of a chase. All of Planet Odd now grouping up and trying to take control there. Just making sure that Newbee can't split push. And now we going to be able to go debut that Yules onto KP, who's going to fully commit the ult for this. Misery chasing after him, but now the Impale, can they actually catch him out there? Long range Impale right at the tail end. They do get that Centaur, and he's going to be able to blink to safety though. Going for the TP, but do they have the burst damage? Oh, it's just going to be a little fraction of a second short. They needed like 2 more auto attacks, but they're not going to find it. Centaur finally lived through an initiation.
Was that the most... I think that was just a godly backpack blink. That was actually insane. So he put his Blink Dagger into the backpack before it got cancelled. Then he pulled it back out, and the instant that it came off the 6-second backpack cooldown, he was able to blink away. He was Shadow Struck, he was getting auto-attacked, and KP still somehow lives. Newbee, the execution here is just so sick this entire tournament long.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, Planet Odd's still in a great position. They've got a net worth lead, they've got an experience lead. Not a lot of experience. They have been 5-manning a little bit. I mean, that's the nature of their lineup, that they kind of have to do that. But, yeah, right now, still looking for these pickoffs. Mugi trying to figure out if the Nyx Assassin is on top of him with that scan.
He does see that Queen of Pain's actually in the area, but let's talk a bit more about this Juggernaut, because he's been pretty quiet, only has 1 death on himself, and hasn't really been focused down. In fact, really can't be focused down. He's now got the Shadow Blade defensively as well. I mean, is this Juggernaut becoming a huge problem?
I think he will be. I think if this game goes long enough, the Jug becomes very, very difficult to deal with. If we get to the point where the Huskar can't actually just stand and auto-attack people, then Planet Odd's front line completely collapses.
Oh, this is huge for Planet Odd, though. They've got to get a good fight off here. Mugi going to be clipped up by the Impale right after Manta-ing. Is going to be force-staffed down to the low ground as Moon goes, whiffs a Sprout. The Cogs come in. Kaka is able to hook himself out to freedom. Faith will be finished off by auto-attacks, but, I mean, that's the worst casualty that comes out of 3 of your heroes getting scouted out while farming.
The Stampede is so punishing for Planet Odd. They don't have the control to keep these heroes locked down and kind of deal with it. You know, even KP's kind of split pushing at this point. You know, comes in, tanks a couple of tower shots, does some damage to the tier 2, clears out the wave. Newbee just in this holding pattern playing for the late game right now.
Yeah, Mugi, it's a lot of trouble here. They are going to bring in Resolution, killing off the healing ward immediately, making sure that there's a...
They don't have their Oracle right now. This is a pretty dicey fight.
Huskar is making some bold plays there. Moon trying to go and block out SECC is not going to be able to go and jump that Nature's Prophet, just doesn't have any interrupt. Forward, looking for some lockdown there. Misery's still invis, trying to crawl back to safety, and it looks like that will be the end of the engage, at least for now, unless Kaka lands a god tier hook shot.
Planet Odd do not seem confident about the way that this is going. They're picking up some Midases on the Nyx Assassin and the... I think the Midas and the Nature's Prophet was fine. Moon's gotten so much farm that it doesn't really matter, but I'm not so sure about this Midas on the Nyx. I feel like Planet Odd's lineup is definitely the one on a timer, and I don't know if this Midas is really going to do that much.
Ooh.
Nice deny from Wee.
Very nice
Yeah,
plays,
nice little
fast
play.
fingers, but yeah, it's really just slowing down the inevitable. Planet Odd have a draft that, you know, they need to stay ahead. They need to be the aggressors. They need to be the ones jumping Newbee on their turf, and they can't just really play reactionary. I think Newbee thrive in that kind of situation. Now KP, I mean, he's melting, is going to be able to go get off the hood, get off the ult. Kaka moves forward, immediately TPs, but the Nyx Assassin comes in with the Impale, and they will be able to find the kill onto the Clockwork. So, you know, Centaur, his life is saved by his Clockwork.
Yeah. Oh man, it's super unfortunate for Odd that this is pretty much a max Roshan respawn here. They would love to get in there soon with the Stampede on cooldown and the Clockwork dead, but will not be able to. There's a double damage waiting down at bot, and SCCC is going to be pretty happy to go and grab that one. So this is the Huskar is starting to slow down in terms of his scaling, and to me this is a really bad sign that the Huskar is now thinking that he has to buy a BKB. I can understand why he's doing it. He's up against the Silver Edge, so his passive is going to get, either his passive is going to get disabled, or he needs to use it to be able to stop that even being applied in the first place. But if he does get broken up, then he needs the magic immunity to actually be able to survive against the burst magical damage from Newbee. You know, as we saw at the end of that last gank from SCCC, when he's broken, the spin can actually do damage, whereas with the Berserker's Blood, normally it would do basically nothing. But I feel like this Huskar is already starting to fall off.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of window does the Huskar have? And if he does start to fall behind, can he ever really get back to a true position?
No, I don't think the Huskar can, but maybe Planet Odd's other 2 cores can start playing a really heavy split push game, farm up to some big items, and then they have some kind of an opportunity. The Queen of Pain's a pretty good split pusher. You know, same story for the Nature's Prophet. So maybe that's the plan here, as they, you know, as the Nyx Assassin also shifting gears like I was talking about. But I'm not sure if that's a winning strategy against the Newbee lineup. I feel like their late game is just a little bit better. overall with the mass right-click damage from the Jug and the Terrorblade, who are both just scaling so nicely. Again, the Planet Odd, same problem as last game. They don't have a front line, so they don't really have a way to keep the team fight structured.
Hook shot in. This is a Huskar all by his lonesome. The Oracle not close enough to get in there and help him out. He's going to go try to jump in, but Willow just gets splatted by SCCC. And now the Oracle, caught out by himself, is in a similar situation. Just going to get frostbitten and crushed down. So that's 2 kills for Newbee. And they're going to go try to TP up against Wee, who's, I mean, going to try to fight this. It looks like he's pretty content dealing with just a solo Clockwork and not going to be forced back. Meanwhile, Newbee are going to take this Roche, and that's a huge turning point in this game. If they can secure that Aegis and deny that momentum acceleration to Planet Odd, they're just starting to fall behind.
What's up with these double damage runes? It's not past 40 minutes yet. Like
someone's always double damage.
Yeah, I don't really understand, but Newbee have had 4 extremely clutch DDs so far this game. I don't think they really needed them 100% for a couple of these kills, but it has been pretty helpful. I really liked what happened bottom. Kaka starts TPing in, we standing right on top of the TP thinking like, are you really going to TP? And Kaka just says yes. Yes, I really am going to finish this TP. TP's in, Cogs is in back, and goes on his merry way. I think Kaka having a fantastic game here.
Yep. I mean, there's so much pressure on this Queen of Pain. The Nature's Prophet performing great, just super farmed up, always going to be split pushing and being a little thorn in Newbee's side, but the Quap has to be a huge source of damage, because you see, if Huskar isn't buddy holding hands with his Oracle, he's just so easily picked off.
And Planet Odd still can't quite seem to decide on I'm not sure if they've decided on a cohesive game plan here. On the one hand, it seems similar to last game, where they're just hoping that this BKB timing from the Quap and
Terrorblade
the Huskar.
Potentially in some trouble. They're going to go for the wraparound.
He's got the Aegis and a Scotty. This guy's huge.
Yep. He's just going to get held in place there. Oracle pops out the root, but, well, Terrorblade has friends. Going to go in. They get a dust off, so Nyx Assassin not going to be too sneaky. And, well, they pick off the Nyx. Saksa is going to be completely plummeted as Faith dances in the tree line.
All right, TP'd out.
Yeah, okay.
Well, all right. Well, there you go, Saksa. It was nicely played. He was in the middle of the Newbee lineup, and Planet Odd still just kind of playing this split push game. I guess they're going to try and make a play once these triple BKBs come up. That's what everybody's got queued up right now, other than the Huskar, who already has his completed. But, you know, they're not really fighting that well. Like, you know, they're not able to take 5-on-5s at all at this point, it feels like, against Newbee. And Newbee have the Clockwork and the Centaur just to keep catching and forcing back the split push heroes. So I don't know if this split push strat is really going to work out the way that Odd have been, that they're hoping it will, because this is just kind of the plan B for their lineup, unfortunately, since they stalled out right outside of the base. I think if they'd managed to take a tier 3, this could be a very different game. They would have been able to take the Shrine and secure Roshan control, and that's where an Aegis could have gotten them a full lane of racks, but
here's where they're getting active, because they got to keep moving. The smoke pops. They know someone's nearby. Quap gonna blink in the wrong direction, and Juggernaut kind of thwarts their plans. Man, that Silver Edge pickup, I am a fan.
Yeah, it's been crazy value for SCCC. You look at it and you think maybe it's just for the, in a lot of ways, just for the Huskar, but it's letting Juggernaut play a lot like Lina, you know, a hero that SCCC is well known for. He's moving around the map, he's getting vision for his team, he's broken a couple of smokes, and he's really just completely creating space for Mugi to become the monster that he is right now. He's got 18k net worth. He's looking big.
All right, so Planet Odd now positioning themselves pretty far outside their base. They're not just going to let Newbee walk all over the map. Planet Odd are not just going to roll over. They've got a couple of really big fights left in them. It's just a matter of getting that jump, getting the fight started the way they want to. And what's Planet Odd's best source of initiation? Well,
that's the problem, is that they don't really have one. The Nyx Assassin's going to be picking up a Blink Dagger in a couple of seconds' time, which is pretty helpful. Ooh, SCCC was really hoping that Prowler was going to root Wee in place so that he could just chop him to death, but not going to be cooperating this time.
That would have been just the map totally screwing him over, but
yeah, double damage runes, the ancient. Nobody wants.
It's that Chinese crowd bias, man. They're rooting for him so hard. The runes are favoring him.
Is this what the home team advantage actually is? All right, well, SCCC, they're up onto the high ground.
Yeah, this is going to be huge. Now Resolution making his way in, trying to do that right-click damage. But Resolution now running for his life, going to be Glimmer caped up just to try to get some good initiation. Terrorblade held in place here. Can they lock him down long enough? Mugi walking around like he owns the place, has that Sunder, just slices Moon's health in half, and now Mugi still on the run. The Burning Spear is doing a fair amount of damage to him. Weehaw going forward, will be able to dump out the ult. and does force the Aegis, but that's just going to be Terrorblade coming at you with full health, full mana. Juggernaut slapping around the Omni Slash will be able to kill off the Nyx Assassin, who's going to buy back in. And now Resolution getting very, very low. He's got to be able to take this. Meanwhile, Queen of Pain killed off, no buyback on her, and they are able to get the root of Resolution. There is going to be one more Impale to hold back the rest of the Dire, but the Dire are pushing forward. They want to keep pushing their advantage here. They know they've got to take this fight now. They are going to be able to go do some good damage to this tier 3 tower, and they sure would be able to take some shrines now. Frostbiting the Huskar in place as Oracle is now separated, so these two heroes, they need each other to thrive in these team fights. The Hoof Stomp comes in, the double edge forward, the Armlet only doing so much to keep the Huskar up. Now the Oracle is with his best friend, but they can't save him! The Huskar goes down for 50 seconds, and they're able to turn it into 3. Buyback from the Oracle, but is it going to be enough? The Nyx Assassin just trying to climb back up the stairs to get back into his fountain. It's looking like this could be GG and could potentially be the tournament. Planet Odd, they don't want to tap out until it's absolutely necessary, but Moogie is fountain diving.
Moon's taking racks. Moon's got 2 lanes of racks right now. He's got a bunch of...
Observer, look at the Dire base!
I mean, they're going for the GG right now. Newbee just going straight for the tier 4s, but Moon making a pretty good time of it in here. If only he had a Deso, if he had another pushing item, he could maybe do a little bit more, but they're coming back.
Trying to go for Megas, and Planet Odd, they're getting close to Megas, but Resolution cannot afford to die here. Resolution's gonna go down. That's 60 seconds without a Huskar. It's gonna be all down to Moon in the enemy base. Saksa trying to get back into the fountain while the rest of the Dire team goes to work on this final tier 4 tower. This tier 4, the only thing separating them from an exposed Ancient, and it seems like the Nature's Prophet will not be able to rat quick enough. Wee's gonna buy back, they're giving it everything they've got. There are gonna be Mega Creeps coming in, but the Ancient's gonna fall, and it will be GG in favor of Newbee. It's a 3-0 here in the Grand Final.